If you can't love that show, you're too addicted to drama and you're just too addicted to negativity and your soul's broken because it's just
my opinion. You need to unplug, let it go, step away from the internet, touch a plant.
Touch a plant, man. You got to touch a plant. Mr. Panhandler for $2 says $2.60. Is that the goal or your weight? No offense. I feel like that one, somebody was telling me this the other day. They're like, the fat stuff, it's like you got to be more creative with the fat stuff. It's like 260, is that the goal or your weight? And you can be like, the goal, why? It's just like, I don't know what to tell you. I
just love that it's one of the skinnier people on the internet. The running bit is that you're fat and we get to enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm one of the skinniest guys you see on camera because everyone else is morbidly obese.
And people think that the fat thing gets to you, like, oh, he gets burned because you're banging on his weight, right? If anyone ever feels bad about their weight, there's a picture of Patrick Melted on the internet you need to see. You'll be okay.
With monkeypox sores all over his face. No, you guys pick your heroes well. You're fine. All right, let's go to the JD Vance thing. We're gonna get there now. I'm sorry, and by the way, those of you who come here to hate Steel Toe, I'm sorry that I dunk on you every day. I should stop. I should just let you have your fun. But, like, you guys just take it so seriously and you make such an easy target. All right, let's go to the J.D. Vance thing. He was on Face the Nation, and it wasn't necessarily J.D. Vance's answers that got me. It was more just how rude
they were when they were interviewing him.
Like, Margaret Hoover is such a jerk to J.D. Vance. Like, she's just an ass. There's no other way to put it. She's just mean.
I'm sure if she was interviewing Donald Trump, she'd be nicer.
And it's just like, I find myself answering for J.D. Vance when I watch this. Like, I'm like you want him to take the gloves off and you want him to be like, I found myself yelling after my shower this morning. I'm like, because they're neocon NWO death cult worshipers. Say it, JD. And he's just like, he's giving a very political answer. And Margaret Hoover's just busting his balls every sentence he speaks and just giving these catty little asides. Let's jump in the middle here. I have different clips, but I think it's better to just play this thing as is. Here we go.
And I think part of the reason why the American people elected him their 47th president.
So the main objective is changing all of that? That it's going to be Pete Hegseth alone?
I'd say the main problem the main thing that we want Pete Hegseth to do is to fix the problems at the Department of Defense. And unfortunately, there are many. We've gotten into way too many wars that we don't have a plan for winning. We've gotten into way too many misadventures that we shouldn't have got into in the very first place. And our procurement process, Margaret, is incredibly broken. We're in an era.
Decisions.
Well, of course, they're policy.
No kidding.
And the point we're making is that you guys have had the wrong policy for quite a while. So wait a minute. So we elected Donald Trump, but he's not supposed to make policy decisions? Or people that will make policy decisions?
I love how she's like, so Pete Hegseth's going to fix all that? And he's like, well, here's all the problems at the Department of Defense. And she's like, those are policy decisions. Like, yeah, who runs policy at the Department of Defense? The Secretary of Defense, Margaret. Try to keep up, Marge. Try to keep up with old JD here. I like JD Vance, but he's not Albert Einstein, okay? You can follow him.
Decisions, but they're also logistical and implementation decisions. If you look at where we are with the rise of artificial intelligence, with the rise of drone technology and drone warfare, we have to really top to bottom change the way that we fund the procurement of weapons, the way that we arm our troops. This is a major period of disruption, and we think Pete Hegseth is the guy to lead the job. Now, there's another element to this, Margaret, too, which is we believe that military morale, at least until the election of President Trump, was historically low.
Because in the bunks, you have people tucking it and dyeing their hair blue, and everyone going, that's legit. And then
you have other people calling us like colonizers because we go over. So if the military goes over and does something, they're getting, kind of slapped in the face about it. Then they come back and everyone thanks them for their service, but hates what they did.
Yeah.
The Army missing recruitment goals by tens of thousands of soldiers, and already recruitment is starting to pick up because Pete Hegseth is fundamentally a warfighter's leader at the Department of Defense. He is a guy who sees not through the perspective of the generals or the bureaucrats. He looks at things through the perspective of the men and women that we send off to fight in our wars.
Both the Wall Street Journal and the National Review, conservative publications, as you know.
By the way, every example she gives, crazy neocon publications like National Review, one of the biggest Iraq War cheerleaders you were ever going to find was the National Review. They're like old school George W. Bush. It's weird that the Christian conservatives are also the ones that want to like invade every country. Like they're kind of like that.
We have to spread the Jesus.
I guess, like, I don't know if it's a crusade or what, but like all of those guys that are like the old school W conservatives, they all want to go to war with everybody. They all want to make sure we spend a bunch of money on the military, the whole deal. So what's funny to me is Margaret Hoover, when it comes to anything trans or when it comes to anything domestic policy, she'll look at the Weekly Standard or the National Review and she'll go, these right-wing conservative publications, these hateful, transphobic publications said this and that's wrong and that's terrible. But when she needs to get Donald Trump on reshaping the New World Order and reshaping the military-industrial complex, now she's totally fine with quoting the National Review. You know, it's kind of my problem that I have with Alex Jones. Alex Jones will sit there and go, the FBI and the CIA are the FBI and the CIA are manipulating this country and they're manipulating your minds. And then the next segment, he'll go, according to FBI crime statistics, what's happening with illegal immigration is. It's like, well, wait a minute. Like,
I thought they were manipulating our minds. Why are you taking their facts? Isn't that how they could manipulate you?
Yeah, like even Alex Jones falls victim to that whole, if they say the thing I want them to say,
I'll repeat what they said.
I'll repeat the data.
I've been critical of Tulsi Gabbard. The review called her an atrocious nominee who deserves to be defeated. They compared her defense of Edward Snowden, the fugitive who stole U.S. secrets, to an attorney general who thinks the mob gets a bad rap. Her refusal.
Okay, wait a minute. But the mob, would kill people and extort people. Edward Snowden revealed that our government was spying on its own people.
And keeping large amounts of our personal data
right.
for secretive uses. Again, I thought, when did we become a country that hated the tattletales? I thought we loved the people that fucking put themselves out there and risk, what? Wasn't it people reporting on Nixon that we were like, oh, thank God for these whistleblowers?
No.
And
that's only okay because that was the CIA.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because it's weird because in January 6th, they were like, all these people are horrible terrorists and they need to be stopped.
That was the FBI.
Oh, that's weird that the FBI really picks the...
Yeah. When the FBI and the CIA blow the whistle on us, it's totally fine. When we blow the whistle on them, then it's fascism. You see how that works? I'm
starting to figure it out.
I hope that helps. Yeah, when the establishment blows the whistle, it's freedom fighting. When we blow the whistle, it's Nazism. And by the way, Edward Snowden, by the book of the CIA and the FBI and the military, did something wrong. But according to the needs of the people, he informed us of something that I feel like we had a right to know. And then Tulsi Gabbard defends that. Wow, I wonder why establishment Republicans and I wonder why neocon fascists don't like Tulsi Gabbard. So again, Margaret Hoover is taking these people that she would normally choose as a symbol of evil and terrible and fascism, and now she's going, hey, these disgusting pig people don't like your guys' pick for the intelligence community. Ha, what do you say to that, bub? And it's like, if I were J.D. Vance, I would give the answer I just gave. But J.D. Vance is kind of a more patient guy.
Refusal to accept U.S. intelligence findings that Assad gassed his own people, they said, was like a nominee for OMB director not being able to count.
See, because that would be bad.
Does any of this give you pause putting her in charge of the U.S. intelligence community? Yes or no?
No, Margaret, look, these are publications that attacked Donald J. Trump obsessively, but those publications don't determine who the president is, the American people do.
Him.
And Donald...
Look, that's the smirk and the little thing. Let him answer the question.
Smirk and the smug thing, and he's trying to get to his point before you keep pissing on it.
And by the way, yes, they did criticize Donald Trump over and over and then endorsed him because the other option was Kamala Harris. That's the only reason. They were buck broken into supporting Donald Trump. They were brought to their knees and forced to support Donald Trump. That's not the same as them liking him.
Right.
Donald J. Trump is the person who determines who his cabinet is, not these publications that I think, frankly, have lost relevance.
The Senate will ultimately decide.
Well, the Senate will provide advice.
Everything she does is this little head movement and this little nod and this, like, she went into this going, I'm going to get him. And like JD Vance has proven he's one of the least gettable guys there are. These people read Twitter too much.
Tell that to his wife.
These people read Twitter too much, by the way, because they're like, oh, I wonder what people say about. I don't want people to say I was too nice to him. It's like, just turn it off and do your job. You'll do better. Trust me.
Advice and consent as is its constitutional obligation, but I feel confident that Tulsi Gabbard will ultimately get through. Two things that are important to know about Tulsi. First of all, she is a career military servant who's had a classification at the highest levels for nearly 2 decades. She has impeccable character, impeccable record of service, and she also is a person who I think is going to bring some trust back to the intelligence services.
She's literally a woman that if she was still a Democrat, Margaret Hoover would drool over.
Oh, right. If she was a Democrat, they would love the fuck out of her, but she changed teams and now they're pissed.
But because Donald Trump appointed her, now she's got to be bad. And I don't even know, did Tulsi Gabbard really even change teams? I don't know if she ever came out and said.
Tulsi Gabbard is one of those that's a victim of she stayed in her lane and everyone else moved over, and so it's gotten to the point where it's not that she's changed teams so much as what team she's on has changed because of, again, the left went further left.
But I was going to say, like, she never became a Republican. Like, I don't think she ever announced that she was a Republican, did she? She's kind of a free agent, so to speak.
Okay.
The bureaucrats at our intelligence services have gotten completely out of control. They've been part of the weaponization of our political system, the weaponization of our justice system. We need to have good intelligence services who keep us safe, but part of that is restoring trust in those services, and we think Tulsi is the right person to do it. That's
she
why
doesn't
the president
trust those intelligence services.
Yes.
Look,
that's why we like her.
But look, everything she says is shitty. Like that big Tim Burton character smile. Like Coraline.
See, I've been looking at this the whole time thinking she's oh Jesus, I had the actor's name for a minute. She was in Beetlejuice when she was
Winona Ryder.
Yeah. She's got kind of a Winona Ryder look to her, which is making me have trouble not being like, well, hello. But also at the same rate, like with that comment, that's more of a self-own. He just went through explaining how we as America don't really have trust in these agencies. And so we're going to put a person there who will restore trust in those agencies. Yes, but she doesn't trust those intelligence. Right.
Right. Thus why she's trying to restore the trust in the... Margaret, are you even listening to me, or are you waiting to smirk at me after you say something quasi-shitty? By the way, Johnny, that was not a cell phone. This is a cell phone.
Oh.
What she did was she said something that contradicted herself and made his point for her. This is a cell phone.
Thank you for helping me. It's
You're
important
welcome.
I learn these things.
I'm just trying to make sure people know what a cell phone is. What she just said is not a cell phone. That would make no sense. This. Do you understand what I'm saying yet?
No, you better explain it to me one more time.
If Ed doesn't love this bit, I quit broadcasting. It's a cell phone. Just making sure.
He recognizes the bureaucrats have gotten out of control, and we need somebody there who's going to rein them in.
Dude, we are the perfect show to get retards to understand the news. Do you understand that's my job? It's been my job on radio. It's my job now. I play shit. I play stuff for the news, and then I talk like an absolute jackass, and then people go, oh, this jackass gets it. I get it too. It's a news jungle gym for retards. And I'm so glad to be the one who built the jungle gym.
You need to have me there because the retards can't take the news. You need someone to explain the news to the retards.
I'm good with retards. What's wrong with you retards?
And return those services to their core mission of identifying information that's going to keep us safe.
You campaigned on lowering prices for consumers. We've seen all of these executive orders. Which one lowers prices?
We have...
It's been
You campaign on lowering prices. You've been in office for almost 2 weeks now. Why is the economy still shitty?
Bro, it's a week. It's 1 week today.
But he has to release. I think she's about to Is she about to ask why hasn't an executive order been written to lower prices?
No, she's asking which of these executive orders lowers prices. And
well, that's again why that's another roundabout way of saying, like,
Yeah.
why haven't you written an executive order to lower prices?
I've done a lot, and there have been a number of executive orders that have caused already jobs to start coming back into our country, which is a core part of lowering prices. More capital investment, more job creation in our economy is one of the things that's going to drive down prices for all consumers, but also raise wages so that people can afford to buy the things that they need. If you look at our
grocery prices
slate
aren't gonna
of
come
executive orders,
Fucking cunt.
It's amazing. Like she just came into this with a combative attitude, and I'll give her this. She's unapologetic about it. She's not hiding it. She's shameless about it.
She's certainly enjoying it.
It's just catty as all hell, but
things that's going to drive down prices for all consumers, but also raise wages so that people can afford to buy the things that they need. If you look at our
grocery prices
slate
aren't gonna
of
come
executive orders,
so grocery prices aren't going to come down.
Well, it took the previous president 4 years to F things up to this situation, so you can't expect it to be solved in 2 weeks. But I understand how an unintelligent person like you doesn't get that. I wish he would be that kind of snarky to her.
She reminds me of the Monopoly guy in Ace Ventura 2. I expect her to go, activist, nah.
So then he's going to punch her, knock her out, and then turn her upside down. Do not pass go.
Yeah, he's going to wear
collect $200.
He's going to wear her around his shoulders. Rah, 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 rah.
This is a lovely room of
Margaret,
death.
prices are going to come down, but it's going to take a little bit of time, right? The president has been president for all of 5 days. I think that in those 5 days, he's accomplished more than Joe Biden did in 4 years. It's been an incredible...
That's not true. Joe Biden tanked an entire economy, took inflation to its highest levels ever, embarrassed us internationally multiple times, and lost us a couple of wars. Donald Trump hasn't done any of that, so watch it there, JD. I know, Donald Trump's accomplished more in 5 days than Biden has in 4 years. Biden brought the biggest empire in the world to its knees in 4 years. Donald Trump hasn't done that yet.
And this is how impressive Biden was. Not only did he do that, he did all of that while, again, taking about half of his work schedule off throughout those 4 years.
Yeah.
So, like, Donald Trump, he's been in office for 5 days. How many of those have been vacation days? Exactly. He's already behind the ball. He's not Joe.
You know, the thing is about Joe Biden, like, he did all of that stuff while not even being there. So you guys are way behind as far as I'm concerned.
breakneck pace of activity. We're going to work with Congress.
Joe Biden is just like Ronald Reagan, only the empire that Ronald Reagan brought down was one that wasn't us. That's the only difference.
Of course, going to have more executive orders.
Joe just pointed the barrel of the gun the wrong way. That's the problem. Joe Elmer fudded himself. That's the problem.
Democracy. The way that you lower prices is that you encourage more capital investment into our country. And you ask specifically, what executive order is going to help lower prices? All of the stuff that we've done on energy to explore more energy reserves, to develop more energy resources in the United States of America. One of the main drivers.
Produce more oil, drive down the price of oil. You drive down the price of oil, the price of everything goes down.
Right, because shipping stuff becomes cheaper, and all of a sudden everybody can afford more stuff because things are a little cheaper.
Yeah, Margaret, we've all watched Landman. You can't pull the wool over our eyes now. Tommy Norris already taught us how the economy works. That's right, we're informed now. Thank you, Billy Bob Thornton.
Of increased prices under the Biden administration is that we had a massive increase in energy prices. Donald Trump has already taken multiple executive actions that are going to lower energy prices, and I do believe that means consumers are going to see lower prices at the pump and at the grocery store, but it's going to take a little bit of time. Rome wasn't built in a day, and while we've done a whole lot, we can't undo all of the damage of Joe Biden's presidency.
Well, I'll give her this. She wasn't shitty during that one. She let him talk on that one. So I really hope if she opens her mouth here, she doesn't make me feel like a jerk for saying that.
A lot of things that contributed to higher energy prices, and there was record oil and gas production.
Yes, Joe Biden did many terrible things to lead to an increase in prices. I agree, Margaret.
See, you know what? He's giving it back a little bit.
Yeah.
You've got to give it back.
It It seems like I can't be entirely positive, but it seems like she was shitting on Joe Biden there. Like, well, they raised this, and that. And so, but yeah, it's weird that we can't just let him talk.
Right. Well, because when he talks, he says things that she's not saying and that she doesn't like.
No, but all the things you experience at the grocery store are what people touch and feel. That's what you were talking about, bacon on the campaign trail.
Of course. of course.
Those things.
You haven't brought bacon prices to $3 a pound in your first 5 days. Explain yourself or be impeached.
You guys ran on this whole platform of like, hey, things are too expensive and we can't afford them. It's been a week. You doing?
I love that. You guys said we would be back to utopia after 4 years of screwing up. Well, 1 week has gone by. What have you guys done? Renamed the Gulf of Mexico, reinstalled American energy production domestically. We've brought multiple Central American countries to heel on the issue of immigration, and we started deporting illegal alien criminals. Yeah, but what? Bacon, asshole. Like, sorry.
Butter's still really expensive.
Yeah.
Well, then you got to find yourself an Amish woman churning butter because she got 20 kids.
Like an Amish lady on a butter churn, and she's got 20 kids and they're out of butter and it's breakfast time.
Mike, I did something for the kids this weekend.
Churned butter?
I churned butter for my children. No, I got the what do you call it? The stuffing bread. From the grocery store instead of like breadcrumbs, and I crushed them up myself to make breadcrumbs for the chicken parm, right? I have all these strips of toasted bread left over, and the kids were just eating them plain. And I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I melted some butter for them, and I melted some butter, I put it in a nice dish,
sticks.
Put it in there, and they made dipping sticks out of them, and they loved them. While I was melting the butter, I wish this wasn't the case. I always say that I don't bring my work home with me. I leave it on the air, but this literally popped into my head while I was melting butter for the kids.
Like an Amish lady on a butter churn, and she's got 20 kids and they're out of butter and it's breakfast time.
It'd be even better if you said that to the microwave.
Out loud. I went,
oh, okay.
I'm out of butter and it's breakfast time. My daughter's like, what, Dad? I'm like, nothing. It's a thing. It's from something. Just forget it.
Yeah, I have a clip like that did that to me too. So I get you.
I'm out of butter and it's breakfast time. Mussolini dip with $5 says anything other than a communist price control policy doesn't lower the prices for consumers. Economics is a fancy word with a mysterious definition. Well, it's as Ricky from Trailer Park Boys once said, it's supply and command.
Supply and command?
That's all it is. It's just supply and command.
So we got to increase. Thank you.
You got to
We got to increase our command.
You're right.
I'm tapping into Ricky.
No, you're right. If we don't upcrease, we're gonna have problems.
If we don't upcrease, we're gonna be screwed.
Yeah, we're gonna have problems. Like I said, this show is a news information program for really, really stupid people. So, in my opinion, you up the oil production right away. You're gonna see prices come down in the next quarter. And then after that, responsible. The thing they don't want to talk about, because our country is so far down the road to financial ruin, is that responsible monetary policy will fix your prices too. If you stop printing so much money, if the government stops going into so much debt, if American consumers stop pulling out their credit card for unnecessary goods, these prices will come down.
Prices are going to drop.
If you stop buying things at insane prices, or you stop borrowing money to buy, it would take a lot of discipline, and the American people would have to take a temporary downgrade in lifestyle. But we could bring these, like the banks and mortgages and the real estate market, we could bring it all to heel if we wanted to. It would just take hundreds of millions of people agreeing and working at the same time in unison, and that's very difficult. Meanwhile, if you're like 6 different banks, it's very easy for you guys to kind of game the market. So, the whole system's on the side of the people who, I'm not doing a thing right now. I'm just saying the whole system is geared towards the people who have the money.
Why would you think that's doing a thing, though? I don't get it.
Because Sam, I haven't looked at the chat for like a half hour, and I'm sure Sam Show is going to tell me what that means. And I'm trying to.
Oh, he's looked into it. Good.
He's an educated guy.
I've done some studying.
Let's go a little longer with this JD Vance interview, because I'm just fascinated by Margaret Hoover's line of questioning.
when do consumers actually get to touch and feel a difference in their lives?
Well, Margaret, how does bacon get to the grocery store? It comes on trucks that are fueled by diesel fuel. If the diesel's way too expensive, the bacon's going to become more expensive. How do we grow the bacon? Our farmers need energy to produce it. So if we lower energy prices, we are going to see lower prices for consumers, and that is what we're trying to fight for.
We shouldn't be having to teach this. Like, I understand having to teach this to just some guy who works 60 hours a week and just doesn't have time to follow this stuff. I get that.
Right.
But we shouldn't have to explain this to Margaret Hoover. So either she's dumb, which I don't think she is, or she's working with an agenda and she's purposely, as Andy Dufresne would say, being obtuse.
And somehow that makes her more attractive.
And it's deliberate.
The flurry of executive orders, most of them weren't about the economy. Many of them
were, though, Margaret. We had, I think we've
a
taken
promise
over
of tariffs by February 1st.
We've taken over 200 executive actions, some executive orders, other executive actions. Again, this is in less than a week, and a lot of them were focused on the economy, bringing investment into our country and lowering energy prices. We've also focused
the Saudis announced that they're throwing $650 billion into American companies. So, I mean, that's a good one.
And I love how he's explaining we're indirectly doing things because they have an effect on the economy. Yes, but none of the executive actions were about the economy. Like, we just explained to you how this is,
restoring public safety, ending weaponization of the Department of Justice. We've done a lot. And I think the president is to be commended for actually coming in and doing something with this incredible mandate the American people gave him. He's not sitting in the Oval Office doing nothing. He's doing the American people's business, and I think they're going to see a lot of good effects from it.
All right, we played about 7 minutes of that interview. I just hate how in bad faith it is. By the way, mandates now banned under executive order under Donald Trump. You want to have a date with a man, you do it in the shadows, the way we used to when this country was still great.
Again, folks, mandates.
But it's not a
cell phone.
It's not a cell phone. Not a cell phone at all. Let me make sure I've got everything taken care of here. Approachable with $1 says, hold on, before you start that show, have you heard there's now an executive order to release the JFK files? We did talk about that on Friday. They're going to release.
Have we heard anything or seen anything released that's bombshell yet?
Oh, they're going to take so long. They're going to drag their feet on that so bad. And they're going to try. They're going to try to redact as much stuff as possible. I hope it doesn't just come out as like
a black page.
Yeah, like black pages. I'm worried about that, but I'm going to think positively for now. Grand Poobah with $2 says Tulsi Gabbard didn't switch teams. The owners sold the franchise and she showed up with a new jersey in her locker. That's a fair point. Although NF Cap says, Aaron, I'm pretty sure Tulsi officially announced she was joining the Republican Party at CPAC or the RNC. Look for a clue. Okay, I'll take your word for that.